We're good to go. I'm calling General Committee to order. The meeting's being held in person electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. We don't have our student mayors with us this evening until City Council, but they will be joining us in a bit. So we're going to move into the consent agenda. For the consent items, I'll read out the title associated with the recommended motions printed on the agenda. Members of the General Committee may ask that an item be held to discuss it further. If an item is not held, the motion is deemed to be approved on consent. No further discussion of the item will take place at General Committee, and the recommended motions will go forward to City Council next meeting for consideration. REF 1, Motion 25G254, refer to General Committee meeting dated November 26, Memorandum County of Simcoe budget.
Just a point of process check. I have a conflict of interest, but because these will be passed on consent, should I declare them now?
Yes.
Okay. So if I may, regarding, if we could hold then.
We don't need to hold it. You just need to declare it.
Perfect.
It'll get noted in the minutes.
Thank you. So declaring a pecuniary conflict of interest with items related to Simcoe County budget, as I am employed by a not-for-profit that works in community support services and has a relationship with the county.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, has that been noted?
Yes, Mayor Nettle, it has been. Just a point of question here. Could we apply that to number 2 as well, the referred matter, because it also addresses the Simcoe County budget?
It would be the same conflict.
Perfect. So noted. We're going to move into that motion right now. REF 2, Motion 25G256, refer to General Committee meeting dated November 26, Memorandum County of Simcoe Municipal Services Agreement.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. We're going to go to FRG1, the 2026 Business Plan and Budget Service Partner, County of Simcoe. Councillor Kungle.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Nutt, I'd like to declare a pecuniary conflict of interest with this item. Again, working with a community not-for-profit agency that has a relationship with the county, so I will abstain and either remove myself from council if there's conversation, or we'll just pull my chair back, but will not vote on the matter.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to hold that one.
Perfect. That's held by Councillor Riepma. We'll move into FRG2, the 2026 Business Plan and Budget Service Partners. It's approved on consent. And TPS 001-25, 2020-107, the traffic bylaw updates.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. Okay. We're going to begin this evening at REF2, Motion 25G256, refer to General Committee meeting. This is the memorandum from Ms. James Reed, General Manager of Access Barrie, and Colette Smith, Director of Finance, dated the 26th of November 2025. Deputy Mayor, you held this item. I believe there's an amendment.
Yes, Mayor Nuttall, sorry. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed and refer this motion back to staff.
Thank you. Okay, the motion has been referred on the floor to refer it back to staff. There's no debate on a referral motion, so I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? Folks, all those in favor? Thank you. That's been referred back to staff. That's REF 2. Make sure I didn't miss something on REF 1. No, I didn't. That brings us to the reference report. We'll go over to Chair Harvey there to give an update on the last Finance and Responsible Governance Committee meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Nuttall. On November 26, Finance and Responsible Governance Committee met. It was actually quite a busy committee meeting as all the service partners presented. So first, we received a report from the Investment Board dated October the 28th, 2025. Then we had a presentation from Deloitte concerning the 2025 audit service plan. And then we moved into service partner presentations. First, we had the Barrie Public Library, then the Barrie Police, and then the County of Simcoe. And then at the end, we also had a deputation and a funding request from I'm trying to find it here in the report here, but from an organization that cleans up throughout the city, and I'm having issues trying to find it here. And then there was also a presentation concerning the downtown BIA summer concert series. And that is my report. Figured I'd keep it short, sweet, since we're probably going to be talking about most of what was presented.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it there, Councillor. And we'll go into FRG1. That was held by Councillor Rietma, and I believe, Councillor Rietma, you have an amendment.
Yes, I do. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed, and I have an amendment. Happy to speak to it. The amendment that I'm suggesting here is that the contribution to the County of Simcoe for their 2026 budget be reduced by $1.8 million, being 60% of the funding gap for courthouse security and transportation in the police service budget, and that the new agreement with the County of Simcoe include the county to pay for 60% of the courthouse security and transportation funding gap in the police services budget. I'm happy to speak to that.
Yes, please do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last week, we were all here and we were presented with the police budget. And there was one item in there that, with respect to the prisoner transport and the courthouse security matter, where there's a funding shortfall of $3 million. The cost goes up and the provincial payment for it goes down, and the citizens here in Barrie are obligated to pay for $3 million of that deficit. The interesting part is that only 40% of the $3 million is attributable to people here in Barrie. And it was very clear that 60% of the service is used by other places in the surrounding county. So in summary, the citizens of Barrie, our taxpayers, are paying 100% of a cost that they really only should be paying 40% of the cost for. And interestingly enough, the County of Simcoe did their presentation right after the police, and this matter was raised to them as well. And they recognize that they're not paying their fair share. And in fact, the warden stood there and said he was open to a discussion about it and reviewing this matter. So, Mr. Mayor, we've had a lot of memos and a lot of discussion about what the county budget actually means in terms of increases, and they're changing. Their request was based on an agreement that isn't an agreement yet. It's not based on the old agreement, but it's based on something else. So it's taken a lot of work to figure out exactly what the numbers are. Suffice it to say, we're still looking at a budget increase of something like 6%, 6.3% from the county, if the latest numbers are correct. And part of that is this $1.8 million that I don't believe that the City of Barrie taxpayers should be subsidizing the county for. And that's the basis of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rietma, and I think it was a very good questions you were asked last week and a good amendment to bring forth this week. Are there any other questions or comments on the amendment from Councillor Rietma? Councillor Nixon.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Nuttall. Just curious whether there would, because this number is kind of a moving target. Every year it could be a little different. A year from now, the number could switch by 10, 20%, who knows? So I'm just curious if there is a mechanism to have that percentage reviewed on a yearly basis, perhaps.
Mr. Mayor, through you to Councillor Nixon. Yes, the amendment is written in a way that asks staff to enter into a new or negotiate a new agreement. And I don't expect that the 40-60% is going to change over the coming years, certainly not over the term of an agreement. And so I've left the 60% in for now. But yes, the $3 million is likely to change. It's probably going to go up. Be lovely if it went down, but it does. I don't expect that.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Corser.
Yes, through you, Mayor Nuttall, thank you for bringing this forward. That's concerning to me last week as well. I was just wondering that when we were discussing this, when I was asking the police about this, they had mentioned that it did not include family court or small claims court. And so would it just be criminal matters on that? Because that 40% might not encompass the whole amount. I'm not sure. Is it just a generalized number? Do we know? And would staff be investigating to make sure that we were receiving the correct amount?
Yes, if I recall the comments from the police department, that it is based on the ratio of criminal court, not all the other courts.
Okay, so if that 40%, I just want to make sure that that encompasses at this point everything that is maybe generally owed to us, but it could be over, could be under, but yeah, if there is any way we can get some appropriate numbers on that.
Sorry, Councillor, just to interject really quickly, it's actually 60, it's the other way around. It's 60%.
My
And
apologies,
I just don't want
yes.
it to be, yeah.
Sorry, yes, I'm sorry,
Councillor
60%, sorry, my apologies. We look after 60% of, sorry, the City of Barrie is responsible for 40%, and the county is, the rest of the county is 60%, correct? At this point, this is the generalized numbers?
Yes, that's based on the criminal activity, but maybe Mr. Prowse can answer better.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Corser and Councillor Ribma. I just wanted to clarify for Council, Councillor Ribma's amendment asks us to explore the funding mechanism. Staff have already got that direction from Council's comments last week. The other piece is to withhold funding to the county. And I would just acknowledge and remind Council, the county has expressed an openness to having this dialogue. I think the warden expressed being open to a partnership. However, this funding is not part of this agreement that's in front of Council, nor is it part of the last agreement. So there is no mechanism today for us to determine some sort of cost sharing as it relates to the courts, whether it be criminal or otherwise. And we have already started those discussions with the county. We have been asked for some detail, et cetera, so their staff have been good about following up on this. We're very happy to have that dialogue and explore what is possible. I just wanted to remind Council, when we're setting expectations, the amendment as it stands now is going to instruct us to withhold $1.8 million from our payments to the county over the course of the next 12 months in the interest of truing up our internal costs related to courts. So I think we talked about apples and oranges last week a little bit. I just wanted to clarify for Council on expectations that this is something the county has expressed a willingness to have the conversation. We don't have an agreement that governs the cost sharing agreement around the courts today. So we would be exploring putting that into the new agreement. So hopefully that helps.
I do have a follow-up with that, if I may. Do we know that, because this is provincially mandated, I understand, would we have to pull in the province at any point to have into this conversation, to have this reimbursement?
No,
or to negotiate a reimbursement?
No, the cost is actually to the Barrie Police Service. It's not to us.
Oh,
It's to the taxpayer
apologies.
through. So
Yeah.
that conversation would be between Barrie Police Service, now us, because we've asked on their behalf to be made whole, and the county, and I think that the CAO's right. We've got there's another amendment I think coming, Deputy Mayor, on how to approach this. I don't want it to be lost that all things being equal, I agree with the notion that Councillor Riepma's brought forward and highlighted. I think probably we all do. But I think that there's good, maybe you should move that now, Deputy Mayor. But I want to, just before you move that, I got to go over to Councillor Harvey, okay?
Actually, if you want, if he has an amendment, he can go ahead of me. Part of my question was just kind of answered anyway when it comes to the technicalities involving in this. So I think probably best just let Deputy Mayor put it on his amendment on the floor, and then if I have anything further, I'll jump in then. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. So my amendment would read as followed, that staff negotiate a separate agreement in contact with the revised municipal share service agreement to have the county provide funding to the City of Barrie representing their share of the cost associated with court and prisoner transfer cost. And I can speak to that.
Go ahead.
So along the lines of Councillor Riepma's amendment, but after the CAO, that was one of my questions, was that there was no agreement, so it would actually, we'd be asking for something that wasn't agreed upon. And the only thing I would like to do is, if the amendment, my amendment passed, would Councillor Riepma still be on the floor for a vote, or is my amendment actually removing Councillor Riepma's?
No, yours is an amendment to the amendment, which will allow to happen, and then it'll be accepted if council votes for it after that as an amendment.
Okay, perfect. So maybe just in the wording, if we could put that a request of 1.8, because what is the risk of withholding the 1.8 for the 12 months? In negotiations, I know that could maybe not start off on the right foot of negotiations, but it's not an agreed upon, we haven't got it contractual or nothing. This was, brought to our attention. We brought it to their, when they did the presentation, we brought it to their attention. But is there?
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, I think staff, Michael, you have some sort of penalty, or Jeff, there's some sort of penalty that will be levied.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Deputy Mayor Thompson, there are triggers in both the existing agreement and the new agreement. Holistically, I think the withholding of $1.8 million, Deputy Mayor Thompson, probably is not the end of the world given the amount of money we transfer to the county every year. But I think I would just remind council, the warden spoke of a partnership last week. If I was advising council, which is what you pay me to do, I would advise you that unilaterally withholding $1.8 million probably is not the same partnership he spoke of last week. I think staff are better positioned to have that negotiation and be successful if council directs us to go off and have those negotiations without withholding that $1.8 million. But I think as you spread it out over 12 months, it's not a significant amount of money. And I would imagine we'll be back to this council probably within a month or two, hopefully with some positive traction on the agreement, but potentially with here's the areas we couldn't agree.
Thank you for that. So with that, I'll put my amendment on the floor.
Councillor Riepma.
Mr. Mayor, in order to just clarify the situation, I'll withdraw my amendment. I'm a little bit reluctantly because I'd like to get, it was pretty clear that 1.8 million is what we're subsidizing the county for. But I do agree that this, the Deputy Mayor's amendment will accomplish the same thing, hopefully more or less, without binding us to the 1.8. So I'll withdraw.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Riepma. So still the amendment is on the floor from Deputy Mayor Thompson then, and over to Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Nuttall. I'll definitely support this. I truly appreciate the spirit behind Councillor Rietma's amendment, but I did have my reservations about withholding funds and any potential risk or jeopardy that it then causes the municipality. So I definitely will support this amendment, as I think it's probably a more collaborative path forward in being able to come out with a positive resolution. And as the CEO mentioned, it seemed like the warden was very open to having those discussions after it was highlighted about the fact that we are paying a disproportionate amount of funds to service the courts when it comes to court security and some of the transport. So I definitely will support this, and thank you for the movers for bringing this forward.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, so all those in favor? And it carries. Any other comments or questions on the county budget? I've just got a few things I want to tie up after thinking about Councillor Rietma's item that he brought forward. And I don't want to get accused of being too vocal or too negative on this issue. But I think we have to ask ourselves how this relationship is serving us. And, you know, the court costs is a thing. I was looking this week at the costs of homelessness on a community, and, you know, you can ask yourself what economic development or positive comes from homelessness in a community. And if somebody can find that, let me know, because I have been unable to find it to date. But there are massive costs. And as the center where the county brings most, but not all, of the folks who are homeless in our community, as a center where the RVH is, where folks walk out the front door into homelessness, as a center where, you know, they get brought through whatever way to the courthouse and then walk out the front door of the courthouse when they receive bail or whatever else. We are taking on a massive amount of expense for social services in the city that are not calculated inside of the agreement with the County of Simcoe. And I have not prepped anyone for this. I gotta be honest with you, this relationship leaves me infuriated. So I apologize for this, and Chief, you might not be able to tell me. What percentage of calls would you say are attached to social service issue or response? And if you don't have a real number, you don't have to throw it out, but it's fair to say a substantial number.
To you, Mayor, no, we do not have that readily available, but I can get that to you.
Yeah, thank you. Please do in the next week. And again, this isn't fair. And I am so frustrated with this relationship. The cost of fire responding to social service related issues, the cost of the Barrie Police Department responding to us being the center of all of the social service issues, and the cost of that we're picking up inside of the Ontario Works or ODSP, even just on the administration side, for the folks that come into Barrie and then they're considered in Barrie because they came to an encampment in Barrie because the county said, or they came to Busby in Barrie because they get moved there or whatever. Like, there are just massive, massive, massive costs. Yet every dollar the other way gets accounted for. And like, Councillor Rietma, thank you, because you brought something forward that I think is a fair approach to the accounting. And at some point, there needs to be a rationalization of what costs we are bearing related to social services. And there's going to be others like Midland. Okay, they're doing more than their fair share inside the County of Simcoe. Maybe in Alliston, maybe they're doing a little bit more. Aurelia, thank you, Councillor Rietma, who didn't put his mic on but told me Aurelia. there's just so much cost that's not accounted for, yet on the other side it's accounted every single time, every cent, right? And then 25% of the bill goes to us, except when that's not enough and it becomes, I don't know, 40 or 50%. What's the number related to Ontario Works and that stuff? It's somewhere closer to 50%. Because the math works in favor of us spending more, right? And then we go to long-term care. Like, think about the generational changes that are happening right now. The amount of folks that are finding life unaffordable who are seniors, and how many long-term care units does the service provider that we pay each year have in the City of Barrie? Zero. Zero. They've got them in Elmvale. They probably have them in Collingwood. They probably have them in Bradford. Zero in the City of Barrie. It makes me angry. I'm actually angry about this. It's keeping me up at night. It doesn't make sense that the city of 175,000 people, or 170,000 people, will be 175 by this time next year, doesn't have a single piece of long-term care. And if you went out and you asked everybody in the community, who would you consider, like, who do we have to take care of? Like, let's start at the have to take care of, right? Those who are disabled, children, and seniors who are now in a position where they're very vulnerable. And our children's services is starting to pick up because the federal government's now compensating, right, with the $10 daycare and all that. Our seniors, we're getting absolutely zero, and we pay, between the province and us, we pay more than our fair share with relation to ODSP, and that's even after calculating the fact that those folks get left inside the City of Barrie. At some point, folks, we've got to make a change. And I wish it was our change to make, because it would be really easy. I probably wouldn't even come to the council table. Honest to God. I'd be 2 o'clock in the morning calling Eric and calling Wendy and say, get that strong mayor motion together. We're dealing with this right now. But it's out of our hands. It doesn't mean that today we should be taking over these services. But at some point, it doesn't make sense when you see the lack of return for our most vulnerable citizens, our seniors. It doesn't make sense that the mayor of a community of 5,000 people can make the decisions about the seniors in a city of 175,000 people, about the social services in a city of 175,000 people, and about the children in a city of 175,000 people, because that mayor does not share the same problems that we do. And some of them are made because we're a city, and some of them are made because the county puts them here, and some of them are made because they just show up. But we need to figure out a path with the province and with the county forward. It's a small step. What Councillor Rietma and Deputy Mayor Thompson brought forward tonight, it's a small step. And I think it's honestly a drop in the bucket if we were to ask the police services and the fire services to provide an accounting of every dollar that we put into social services to those two organizations. And that doesn't include the great work the Service Barrie does, trying to help people and point them in the right direction when they need help, right? There's an immense amount of money spent by the city on these things that is not accounted for inside of this system. But every dollar that's spent the other way is accounted for and billed for and invoiced for. And it's just not working for the City of Barrie. So I realize there's no motion, there's no anything. I think if there's anything I'm saying here tonight, it's that I want council to know that my heartfelt direction is probably we need to go towards being in control of our social services. Now, if the county comes forward and says, let us be a partner with you on this item, let's look at your police service costs, let's look at your fire costs, let's look, and they ask us to look at Midland and some of the others that have similar, Aurelia and others have similar, I'm totally good for that. And that feels more like a partnership. But right now it doesn't. So I'll leave it there. I know I've spoken for too long, and we have a council meeting to go to as well. So we'll call the vote. And, sorry? What are we voting on again? The vote is, I think we're voting on the amendment, yeah? Vote on the amendment, voting on the main motion, right? As amended. Which is the county budget. Yes. All right, so all those in favor? Okay, it carries, and we'll move on to the next item. Deputy Mayor, the traffic bylaws, which is TPS 001-25.
Thank you, Mayor Nutt. I'll put the motion on the floor as printed, and I'd really love to see an amendment deal with the parking issue, and I'll leave it at that.
Councillor Nixon.
Yes, thank you for putting it on the floor. I would like to request the amendment to the traffic bylaw that the first on-street parking space at the south side of Worsley Street, east of Mulcaster Street, across the street, be designated for Barrie Police Service. And I can speak on that.
You can.
Yep, as I'm sure everyone is aware, Barrie Police will be having an office in the city center building, which I believe it's 55 Mulcaster, I believe, is the correct address. And as they had previously at the bus station where there was parking provided, and to also increase their visibility, I would like to request that we kind of reserve them one parking spot at the corner.
Okay, the amendment's on the floor. Any questions or comments with regards to the amendment? Councillor Corser.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Nixon. Is one enough?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there could be times when two might be required. There's going to be plenty of times where none are required. But having one spot, which makes it easy access for them both in and out when they are in that office, is a good thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Corser. Any other questions or comments? I'm seeing none. All those in favor of the amendment? It carries. The main motion is amended. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? It carries. That brings us to inquiries. Any inquiries, Deputy Mayor?
I have none. I might have one after council.
Okay. And any other inquiries are on the table? I'm seeing none, so we'll move into announcements. Any announcements? Okay. Perfect. I have an announcement. Councillor Kungl doesn't have an announcement.
The Leafs are winning the cup today.
Okay. Well, folks, we're going to move into the circulation list for December 3rd. Are there any items on the circulation list from today's date? I'm seeing none. So we're going to go to adjournment at 6:43 p.m. We're going to come back to the chamber for 7.